My name is Caleb Goston. I was born April 8th, 2002, so it's a big generational difference. But I feel like this difference has generated a very different world, and I feel like it's only available if you're inside that age range. And I don't think it's very penetrable because a lot of people aren't willing to talk about it. But that's my goal, is to get people inside my world. So, also, I have a theory. Segregation is not over, but you'll learn more about that as I speak. So I was born and raised on Sugar Hill on the east side of Gainesville. I went to Cuddly Kids Academy. It's in the same location, same place. It was predominantly Black and Hispanic when I attended it, and there was a Black and Hispanic teacher who taught us, and she taught us multicultural approach to things. We had a broader worldview from a young age, which helped us out tremendously. That culture was there from the start, but it didn't maintain itself. I feel with education, it's a ground-up system, so everything is one brick on top of another. But when those bricks start to crumble, the foundation isn't there. And that's where a lot of my peers are lacking, as that foundation. Even though a lot of us share the same background. We're post-Jim Crow, post-Reagan era children, post-crack era. So everything that has happened, all the ramifications have landed on us. So most of our parents who are either in jail, gone, missing, dead, or have been killed when we were growing up aren't present. My mom, she was a drug addict when I was growing up. She wasn't around a lot. My uncle overdosed. My daddy was in and out of jail. So all these ramifications from these previous decisions by our elders have landed on us. After Cuddly Kids Academy, I attended Williams Elementary, directly across from Lincoln Estates. That's where most of my cousins stay, so we might be blood related, potentially. At Williams, I was one of the smarter kids. I had a teacher named Miss Pace in kindergarten, and she is one of the teachers who I'm going to talk about tonight, who have strived to make a difference within the education system and be more than a teacher, but to be a life coach in a sense. She actually switched from being a kindergarten teacher to being a first grade teacher because she saw our potential and she wanted to hone in on not letting anybody else ruin that. She recognized talent individually, and she recommended that I be placed in a gifted program, which is what I call modern segregation. So nowadays the gifted programs are sort of pigeonholes for any person of color. So because now you're too white for the black kids and too black for the white kids. So you're in your own little bubble and you're just further and further ostracized. And that's what I feel like we're lacking, is a sense of community, not just community within ourselves, but a community within the world. It's too many people afraid to approach each other. And these divisions only grow wider as you grow up. And I feel like with growing up, you realize a lot of things regarding the past. I had black friends, but then I started hanging out with more and more of my classmates, and I couldn't relate to them because I was, our current house is 2-bedroom, 1-bath. And there are children going home to 2-story houses, front yards, backyards, dogs, 2-parent households, and a much, much higher income than mine. And they have a better structure behind them. And then you have most of us who are making do with what we have, because GRU bills are not cheap.
Rewind.
Just with money in general, in second grade I had a teacher who assumed I needed financial backing for a $7 field trip. And it's these assumptions that built my worldview. And gifted, you are repeatedly told that you're special, that you're this and that, and then you sort of learn to look down on regular students. And these regular students are people who look like you. So you internalize a self-hatred because they don't like you, and you're trained not to like them. And it's a water and oil situation. It doesn't mix. Fast forward 4 years of separation to 6th grade. I went to Lincoln Middle School, directly across from Lincoln Heights. and directly across from a little neighborhood called Hollywood, which is... Oh, y'all got money. Okay. But in 6th grade, I wasn't in gifted. That year, I was in major program. So I was back in a crowd that I was unfamiliarized with. I had to relearn all the crucial things that I never knew about. I didn't know about the culture. And if you're young or you're black, you know about the culture. And I realized that all these years I had been assimilated into a world where I wasn't welcomed and ostracized from one that felt the same way I did. I was jealous, to keep it simple. And it's a lot of emotions that come with growing up the way I did, and a lot of that gets internalized. And you never talk about it. And that's why you end up having misbehaving kids. That year reaped one benefit, though. I had my first black teacher since preschool, and his name is Mr. Gore. And he taught me math. And I hated math with a passion ever since the 4th grade, because I hated fractions, and my teacher wasn't willing to help me out. So, I just never learned it. And then Mr. Gore came along, and that was the one year I fell in love with math, because he broke it down in a way that made me understand. He took his time, and he could relate to where I came from. He seemed more in tune with us, which brings up a sad but truthful reality, in that we lack black educators in our area. Representation matters, and to have a face like yours educate you and show you what you're capable of is refreshing and encouraging. By the time 7th grade came around, they re-recognized me as, oh, he's smart. Let's take him out, let's meet this quota again. And I already knew from the jump that this wasn't something I wanted. I wanted to be with people who looked like me. I wanted to be with people who could relate to me. These are the same people who grew up in the same areas as I did and had the same experiences. But at Lincoln, I saw the same thing I'd seen in Williams. There was a distinct difference between the two hallways. It's always separation in schools. It was the major program hallway and the Lyceum hallway. And you didn't notice because usually you either stayed on one side of the hall or the other side. But having been in both, it's a dramatic difference. The Lyceum side has brighter lights, they have better classrooms, they have more up-to-date books, they have better furniture, they have better lesson plans, they have more staff. Everything there is upgraded and modernized. In the major program hallway, it's dimly lit. Everything there is either broken or old, and there is no real upkeep. The classes are overpopulated and understaffed. They would have so many in one class that you can't educate that many people at once. And mind you, these kids are disruptive. They're disagreeable, but not because they want to be. It's because they have that frustration. That's the frustration that I experienced in 7th grade when I came in and realized I didn't relate to any of these people. I felt that anger. I felt that need to misbehave and get attention because my needs weren't being met. And all of that molded how I thought. I only say that to say that my generation has a lot of pain that they carry around from day to day. I have a friend, a very dear friend, who killed himself. I have cousins who have died. I have friends committing crimes. There's a kid at my school who got shot in the face. And it's this uprising of violence that has influenced our surroundings. We're always cautious. We're always on edge. There's always something to think about. And the education system, they don't try to intervene. They don't try to talk because they don't care. That's an issue and a trauma that no one is recognizing. There are no programs, no sit-downs, no safety net for at-risk youth that are the future of this community and the nation because they don't care. Matter of fact, I have a cousin. He is a year younger than me, 15, and he has the charge. He is in the system for aggravated assault. And he's only a teenager. He's younger than me, and now his future is ruined because unless he gets that expunged, it's on his record. But there are a select few who care about their students and go out of their way to help them. An example of that is Miss Truman. She's an art teacher at JHS. My friend was homeless over the summer, and we had brought him in and helped him, and she got him in touch with a sponsor who who gave him an Under Armour carry bag full of clothes and things he might need for his day-to-day. She's helping him with programs, with job opportunities, things that he needs. We have Miss Harris, who is the leader of the Canes on the Mic program at my high school, who takes it's a majority black youth who they're educated, they're smart, they're gifted, but they have so much trauma and pain that no one else will listen to. So they gather and they relate to each other. And it's not just black students, it's every student, because every student now is subject to fear every time they step on campus. There's always a thought in the back of the head, oh, what if this goes down right now? What if there's one angry child with some sort of firearm in his possession? What if that goes down? What if it's my friends? What if it's my cousin? What if it's someone that I know, a friend? And it's that fear that could happen at any moment. And no one seems to care. It's an anxiety. It's a generation of anxiety. I feel that teachers are role models. Teachers are supposed to be adults in your life who you learn not just general knowledge from, but life knowledge from. And there are too many focus on the general knowledge to encourage that life knowledge. And when one teacher puts forward more effort than an entire school district, that's an issue. And I feel like there are very few people who care, and that we are all just going through it.